Hello my beautiful souls and welcome back to the channel. In today's video I wanted to share with you some of the reasons why I personally don't follow trends. Now a slight disclaimer, these are all my own opinions and style is subjective. So the aim of the video is not to create any hate or negativity, it's just my viewpoint, and these things influence the way I dress, they influence the way I spend my money, and so I thought I would share this content with you. Now we've got that out of the way, let's get into the content. I think it's really important to define what a trend is. So a trend is a way of dressing, styling or behaving that is popular or fashionable during a specific time frame. So trends come and go, what's in one season is out the next season, and it's almost like a cycle of what's new and fresh within the fashion industry. So the first reason why I don't follow trends is because I feel they water down your originality and creativity. I feel like we all end up looking the same when we all dress the same. I have been out in London and I've seen girls with the same hairstyles, they have the same jeans on, and there is nothing unique or fresh about the outfits if they all look exactly the same. There's nothing wrong with that, but I just feel like one's originality gets lost within trends because you're encouraged to look a specific way and everybody is exactly the same. So that's one of the reasons why I personally don't feel like trends are for me. I don't want to look the same as everybody else. I want to show my uniqueness. I don't have the same features as everybody else, and it's almost like those features that make us unique get washed down and watered down because we're all told we have to look a certain way to feel a certain something or to be a certain something. So that mindset is very limiting, I find, and so that's the first reason why I personally don't follow trends. The second reason why I'm not keen on trends is because they assume that one piece of clothing or a set of clothing is going to look good on everybody. And again, I just disagree with that mindset. We all have unique traits, eye colour, hair colour, skin tone, height, body shape, etc. The list goes on and on. So how can one piece of clothing fit all of us? It doesn't make sense. And just because it's trending, it doesn't actually mean that it looks good on you. And I'm sorry to say it, but sometimes we just need to be honest. When we look in the mirror and you put something on, you know if it looks good or if it doesn't. And I hope if it doesn't, you have the guts to take it off and try again, because just because it's trending, it doesn't mean that it works for everybody. People who may be shorter, people who may be longer, their items need to be tailored and adjusted in a way that suits them, that brings out their uniqueness. A trend just means these are what's in and it suits everybody, and that is just not the case. So again, it's a limiting belief that I just don't buy into. So the third reason why I'm not keen on trends is because trends, they basically tell you what is in and what you should wear now within a certain time frame. I believe your clothes can and should be worn all year round. They are clothes. You decide when you want to wear them, and you decide when you want to bring out your polka dots or your flares. It's not based on a trend. It's not based on what's in. You decided today you wanted to wear this jumper, so you've gone for it. And that, to me, is what should be the motivating factor behind your outfits. There is a saying that says that there is nothing new under the sun. So basically, what is in today goes out. And then it's just a recycled pattern, basically. And it's really hard because I feel like you should be able to wear your clothes when you want to wear them, not because someone has told you to, or now it's in, we can go into our wardrobes and take out all of these things that we've just had waiting there because we've had permission to bring them out again. It's your clothes. If you've spent money on them and you want to wear them, then you wear them. That's the principles that I stand by, and those things influence my decisions when I'm putting together an outfit. Do I feel good? Do I feel confident? Is it weather appropriate? How am I going to feel in it? It's not about other people in that sense. It's not that I won't consider other people's opinions, I will, but I think trends is something that is so limiting and it puts us in a box that we don't need to fit in. So that's another reason why I'm not keen on trends. Someone has to say that they're in now, and then we all jump and follow that as if there is no authenticity, originality to our decision and choices, which I just don't agree with. So if you're still watching, thank you so much. The fourth reason why I'm not keen on wearing trends is because trends come and go. And I personally feel like this style of consumerism is a waste of time, energy, and money. Most of us work hard to earn our income, and then something is in and we think we're going to buy that, so we do, and the minute we've got that item, 2 more things have been mass produced, or 5 more items have been mass produced. And then it's like, oh, what I just bought isn't in fashion. I now need to add these 3 or 4 pieces. And the loop and the cycle continues. I personally don't want to shop like that. I think it's a waste of time and energy, as I've said. And the older I've got, those things are so valuable to me. So I don't feel like I want to spend my money in that way, basically. Buying trends and following trends is often a way for you to keep up. You have to stop and ask yourself, what am I keeping up with? Am I keeping up with my own personal values? Am I keeping up with my own style? Am I keeping up with the things that really matter to me, like materials, like sustainability, like building a wardrobe of clothes that I actually like? Or am I just following the crowd? It's one of those things where you can get so caught up in the buzz of it, and when you enter a shop, there's lots of music and there's lights and it's just like amazing, and those things are all marketing tactics to get you to spend your money quickly. So I would encourage you to just step back a little bit before you purchase an item and really think about who's influencing your decision. Are you purchasing this item based on your own values, or are you being influenced by someone else? So the 5th reason why I am not keen, as you know, on trends is because they box you in financially. So trends assume that we all have a specific spending allocation, budget, whatever you want to call it, and I just disagree with this. For example, a lot of designer items are in the £1,000 to £2,000 bracket range. That's someone's whole salary for the whole month. I'm not a failure if I cannot afford that. That's just not in my budget, and I don't think that trends consider that. Something that's designer will come out, and obviously there'll be cheaper versions that everybody can buy if they want to. But it is this thing of, if you don't have this item, then you're no good. And if you can't afford it, you're not part of the elite. Most of us don't want to look elite. We just want to look like ourselves and make sure that we're comfortable in what we wear and we look stylish and fresh and clean. That's the main things, really. So I feel like they have a tendency to box you in financially. If we all can't afford a new Chloe handbag, we're failures. Not necessarily. We all have bills to pay, and everybody's budget or financial situation is completely different. And trends just don't take those real things into consideration. And personally, I feel like some trends, they isolate people who just cannot afford them. So you're not on trend because you financially, practically cannot afford to be. And that's not your issue. So definitely, think about these things before you purchase an item. As I said before, who is influencing your spending habits and your decisions? Is it you, or is it a trend? Trends come and go. And at the end of the day, the trend isn't going to be buying it for you. You're going to have to find the money to fund the trend. So just take a step back with your buying and shopping habits. So the 6th reason why I don't like trends is because trends tend to be cheaply made. They are mass produced at a faster rate than normal. So you end up with things like uneven stitching, threads coming out of places where they shouldn't. They're made with lots of plastic, which stretches in the wash. Overall, the quality is less. The price point is cheaper. Doesn't necessarily mean that you're getting an item that is going to last you for 3 or 4 years, or even 5 or 6 years, depending on how you look after it. I just feel like trends can be quite cheaply made. The material is often see-through, and you just think, what am I paying for? So that's something that I really just don't have the time for. If I'm working hard for my money and I decide to spend it on an item, that garment or item needs to do me justice. And I'm not buying cheap clothes anymore. I say that because I did have my phase in my 20s where I was just shopping because I just thought I had money, and the cheaper the better, and actually it costs you double because you now have to chuck out all these things and buy again because they've all washed out. They don't actually suit you and they do nothing for you. It's not to say that if you cannot afford a certain item you're a failure. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that when I've looked at trending pieces, they don't tend to be made in a way that's going to last for a long time. And I do have an issue with that because, as I said, if I'm spending my hard-earned money on something, I want that item to last. I don't want it the buttons are popping off, the threads coming out, so I just look cheap even though I've spent money on an item. That is not the point. And when items are mass-produced in a cheap way, obviously there is that sustainability issue, but I just feel like you then have to go and replace these items, so it's ultimately costing you twice as much or even 3 times as much, because as you bought one item, it's stretched out because it was cheaply made, it doesn't last, and now it's just repeating this consumerist cycle and you've now spent 3 times worth on one item when you could have bought one expensive piece, and that piece has been made well with quality materials and it will last you longer. So I just think that trends don't tend to factor in any of that information at all. It's just, this is what's in and that's it. It's just about what's in within a time frame, and it has nothing to do with practicality, sustainability, your own budget, other real life issues that you have to consider as a consumer. The 7th reason why I don't like trends is because there is a mindset that is unrealistic. And what I mean by that is in terms of beauty standards, especially for young women, we are taught that if we don't look a certain way and if we don't behave a certain way and have our nose, eyes and lips and everything else a certain way, that what's trending, we are just not good enough. And that does so much damage to someone's confidence and self-esteem and how they carry themselves. And I just think it's so damaging in the long run, especially for teenagers all the way up into, you know, your 40s or 50s. Women are under so much pressure constantly to look a certain way, and it's unrealistic expectations, sometimes driven by trends that I again just don't agree with. I think we've all been there where we have been on Instagram or YouTube or social media and we're looking at someone's highlight reel and we start to feel like we're not good enough and we want what that person has. And it's almost like trends can buy into that. They feed into that notion that if you're not here or you're not wearing this or you don't have this, then you are just not good enough. And that can lead you to feelings, you know, feeling bad about yourself, which I just don't want to do anymore. I'm sorry, I'm not doing that. So that's why I don't have social media in the sense of Instagram. I came off of Instagram, you know, I need to be able to put on my clothes and feel good enough for myself first and foremost, and then step out the door. And everybody's opinions is not mine to carry. So it's one of those things where I just think trends don't, as I say, they don't do anything for you in terms of your self-esteem. You put something on and it doesn't fit the right way, like how this influencer looks, so now you don't feel good enough. It's just rubbish. And the 8th and final reason why I am not keen on trends is because trends don't help you find your unique style. They also don't tell you why something looks good and how to put your outfits together in a more practical, sustainable or stylish way. They just tell you to put this on and that's it. And it's so narrow-minded that I just can't get down with it. As I've said before, it's a thing of this item is in, we're all wearing burgundy now, and that's lovely, it's a lovely rich colour. No one tells you what burgundy goes with, no one tells you if it actually suits your shade, no one tells you if it makes you look washed out or too dark or too pale or whatever it is. You're just told wear burgundy. You don't even know what to style it with. Burgundy and green, burgundy and orange. So for me, I think trends, they're beautiful at times and they're great, but you really have to take a step back. And trends don't tell you what looks good. They don't explain why this works with your type or your body type or your height or, you know, what you compare this with. It's just, this is what's in and that's about it. And the minute you go and buy it, you have to go and replace it because that's now not in. The jeans that you wanted are now out of fashion and you've got to go and wear something else. You know, it's a vicious cycle that just repeats itself. And I think, as I said, some of the reasons why I don't personally follow trends have been listed, but I prefer to style my outfits myself so I can look like me, so I can feel confident in who I am as a person and not be boxed in financially or any other ways to look like everybody else. So that sums up today's video. Hopefully it wasn't too negative for you. It was more on the real and honest side of things. As I said before, it's just my opinion. So basically take it or leave it. But I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, give the video a like, share, subscribe, and as always, I will see you in my next one.